What does low altitude economy stand for and what other concepts are similar to it? Let's go through some basic definitions. The low altitude economy is a concept originating from China. In Chinese, it actually literally rolls off the tongue as 低空经济. 低空经济 literally means 低, low, 空, literally meaning empty, but it's typical of our Chinese to use shorthands in compound expressions. Here, 空 is short for 空间, space, 空域, airspace, or 空气, atmosphere. And then 经济 simply means economy, so it's a very short term, 低空经济. It's very easy to say. The Chinese have a very explicit definition from the Ministry of Civil Aviation, which is all economic activity within the bottom 1,000 meters of airspace. First and foremost, there's the safety aspect of hobby drones, commercial drones like transportation emergency drones, in future also flying taxis, flying cars, etc. And of course, also classic airplanes or helicopters, which all operate in the same airspace. As many of these flying objects are quite recent innovations, they haven't been managed or regulated in an integrated fashion. There are, of course, extensive regulations on the registration and safety of aircraft, quality, operation regulations. Everything is defined in minute detail and organized by dedicated ministries of air control authorities. But for example, hobby drones can just be flown wherever, although increasingly countries do make regulations out of necessity. For example, I remember a few years back in Germany, many flights had to be delayed because of hobby drones flying near airports. Obviously, interrupting air travel was already then illegal, but there was no clear regulation about where flying drones to which altitude was allowed. The Chinese may have the most integrated approach to this low altitude economy airspace, not just covering regulation needs, but also the promotion of economic activity, startup incubators, financing, etc., etc. But the Chinese are by far not the only ones who have in recent years been pushing for better regulation and strategy. The European Union has the concept of U-space, which stands for UAS space. UAS, again, is an abbreviation meaning unmanned aircraft systems. But other interpretations of U-space also suggest the meaning is universal space, as in everyone shares it, or even urban space, which is rather odd because airplanes typically don't fly that low over urban agglomerations, but that wouldn't be the only odd term we encounter in this new emerging industry. For example, another very common odd term that I strongly dislike is the eVTOL. In the US, people pronounce it eVTOL, which I get the ring to it. It sounds a bit like an e-vehicle, eVTOL, but I dislike the fact that it's actually the abbreviation not of a type of vehicle or aircraft, but of a maneuver. A correct sentence would be last year in Europe, 500 eVTOLs were executed and not produced, because if we unpack the letters, it means electric vertical takeoff and landing. Landings and takeoffs are executed or performed, but not produced. If anything, it should be eVTOL aircraft or eVTOL systems, but then again, it's not short and sweet anymore. And perhaps that's just the Swiss in me who wants everything to be precise and correct. Back to the low altitude economy definitions. The Germans worked directly with the EU terminology. Their Ministry for Digital and Transportation released a U-space concept to suggest how management should be implemented within Germany. To already have a ministry that combines digital and transportation in one institution is very convenient for regulating this industry, by the way, as it indeed does combine digital and transportation technologies. The French then used the term réseau très basse altitude, or RTBA, to regulate military training flights near ground level. It literally just means very low altitude network. Having such a concept will help the French to also regulate shared space in that altitude. The Japanese go with urban air mobility UAM, which surely suits their vertical city landscapes. Focus seems more on logistics, emergency, leisure, hobby, and drones, together with unmanned flying taxis, etc. Agricultural drones and air travel may have second priority for them at the moment. Korea, like with their music called K-pop, managed to localize the Japanese term by adding a K in front of it. They work on a KUAM roadmap. Joking aside, their ambitious goal is to have commercial services up and running within this year, 2025. Another country we don't want to miss in this list is the United Arab Emirates, which works with the term Advanced Air Mobility Initiative, AAM. They are quite advanced in the mapping of air corridors for flying taxis, general regulatory frameworks, and so-called vertiport regulations. Vertiports are vertical takeoff and landing airports, or should I say VTOL airports. Having the world's first regulation on vertiports has allowed the UAE to attract all major global eVTOL startups to do tests and demonstrations in the small country in West Asia. Let's explore the similarities and differences of various concepts in practice, and let's check out how quickly countries move from presenting a strategy or concept to actually have operating flying taxis and cars in their cities. Please follow me, like, and share to help us grow and bring you better content in the future.